I feel like we need more whimsy. And with we, I first mean our Western society, but also, for me personally, this space. Last year, I put this white Christmas tree behind me as some kind of fairy-like backlighting for all my videos. But an incident has occurred. And you cannot see it, but the adapter is just shot. I cannot use that tree as whimsical lighting anymore. Dang it, what are we going to do? Last week, I picked up this kit to make a felted lampshade by Atelier Lindelicht. And then I also visited a thrift store to find a suitable lamp for this lampshade. And I picked up this hefty thing, which was clearly a blessed purchase because after I walked out of the thrift store, I met up with a little friend called Salamander. Anyway, this blessed purchase will transform into this flower, a narcissus. Is it a narcissus in English as well? Anyway, we call this also an Easter flower, a paasbloem. And yesterday, I saw my very first Easter flower in real life, even though it's just like half February. It should be crocuses, not Easter flowers anyway. But I thought, well, that's the sign. We need to make this ASAP. And these are all our materials. You see all the colors of felt that we need, sewing thread. The kit even comes with its own needle, some beads and a button. Got the instructions, pipe cleaner, a pair of scissors, and I also fetched a cut-off of tracing paper from my sewing room, all ready to start. The pattern pieces are actually smaller than I imagined them to be. I could probably just cut out the pattern pieces from the original paper, but nah. I think I would rather do them on tracing paper just to keep the original pattern intact for whenever I want to do something similar. A lot of focus needed. It also surprises absolutely no one, of course, that if I want to add more whimsy to my space, that I go for a orange, yellow and green flower ornament. Yeah. I have a type. I cannot deny that this is true. I don't specifically have anything with the flower narcissus. Like, it's a really pretty flower. That is undeniable. But it's not like it's my favorite flower or something, but it's just I was rummaging through all these lamp kits and, well, 'twas the colors. 'Twas the colors. Okay, now let's start the real work by sewing my flower together. The stitch used here, I think it's a blanket stitch in English, but it says to festonner. You know, I've got to festonner, right? Got to festonner this close. It has finally dawned on me what this flower is called. This flower is called in English, that's a daffodil. The perks of being multilingual. Yeah, I forgot the word for daffodil. That happened. Anyway, but I also just told you that colloquially in Flanders we call this a paasbloem, an Easter flower, because it flowers around Easter. Now we also do the inverse thing. Around this period, crocuses are flowering. And next week, schools in Flanders have a week off, and we call this krokusvakantie. Crocus holiday, crocus time off. I know that, like in English, that's more known as spring break, but we say krokusvakantie. A little bit of Flemish for you. Daffodils! The first part of my daffodil is finished. Ah! It already looks a little bit like a lampshade. And now, for the moment of truth, will it fit my lamp? The main thing I'm worried about is these little spikes over here. And I was worried when I saw the pattern pieces that they were smaller than I expected. But looking at this, it's actually a pretty neat size. So, will it? Yeah. No problem. Nice. I actually, ideally, wanted to find a lamp that it is like a swan neck, that you have like the flower do that little thingy. I couldn't find one with a small enough lampshade or one with a detachable lampshade. So, but I think this will work fine. This will work fine. It's not like anatomically correct for this flower to be just like immediately down on the stem, but it's just going to be so cute anyway. Like I love that this is done with blanket stitch. It gives it so much more of a, you know, folk art vibe. I know it's probably the most practical and sturdy way to connect felt like this, but I think it adds to it. It's like, it makes it look so far removed from anything that you could suspect of being minimalism or like old money aesthetics stuff that is just, well, not surprisingly, not my aesthetic. I have to be in a white, light wood office for 8 hours a day. I want to fill my spaces with stuff that just make me childishly happy. And a flower lamp with blankets, stitches on it, yeah, that just fits the bill for me. To the next parts. I have moved myself and my project to my kitchen. It is so cold in the studio today. My toes were freezing off. Like, I know last week's video was all like, oh, I'm so happy spring is coming, but I was deceived. Now, second winter. One of my favorite things about these last moments of winter, is spring coming or not, is sitting right here in the kitchen, because behind you there's a really big window, and if the cloud that is currently clouding the sun slides away, full greenhouse effect in this here kitchen, and I will get toasty again because I'm really shaking. I'm so cold, and that's not productive when you're trying to sew with small needle on small leaves. could argue that it is very frivolous escapism to be sitting here and stitching a daffodil lamp while the world is currently ice and ice cold. Pun intended. I even had comments on previous videos where a lot of people were like excited and almost awaiting a video where I would make a melty ice hat. And I don't like disappointing people. And I know that most of my audience is in the United States, but I'm going to say here on the record that I do not plan to make a melt the ice hat. For the sole reason that I think that would be just performative. I have no skin in the game. I am a white woman in a relatively safe country, even though Vlaams Belang thinks that a Flemish sort of ice would be a good idea. There is no persecution of me if I make this hat, while you people in the US are like kind of risking your skin making the hat, showing resistance to ice. The only thing that would give any kind of meaning to me wearing and making this hat is that I show my support for my friends, the people over there in America. I think it would be wholly performative and taking away the actual meaning. But let me come back to that escapism, because there is one thing I can do for you people, like next to, of course, donating, which my husband and I do donate to a lot of good causes. It is exactly the escapism I can give you by making a silly little lamp, like maybe 15, 20 minutes, half an hour of respite of the horrors that currently be. I have a lot of talk about craft being inherently resistant, especially when it's like mending and making your stuff last longer. But I've also been enjoying Kathleen Illustrated's videos on using craft as a way to form community, like all her ideas on how to do a craft night with your friends and make community through crafting. And I am sitting here by myself, but I hope that by making these videos, by taking you along with my silly little flowers, I am making a community in which I hope you also feel safe. Everyone is welcome here, regardless of gender, race, religion, ability, you name it, you are welcome. I welcome you here. You can rest for a moment. The world is heavy as it is. Escape for a little bit, so that afterwards you have more energy to resist the power that be. Because escapism I see not as a bad thing, but it can be a bad thing. If it makes it so that you completely withdraw from the world and from all the news, then you have too much escapism. Well, sometimes you need a little bit of it to be able to continue looking at all the news, to be able to continue to be informed about the things that are happening in the world. That was a little thought I had on my little flower. I have both petals connected now. It's starting to look like a daffodil. It's starting to give me a lot of happiness looking at it, and I hope it does the same for you. Look at these colors, they are happy and bright. I also just think that with the rise of fascism, it is important that we keep creating beautiful, whimsical stuff. Make whimsy to fight fascism, but more like make whimsy to be able to fight fascism. Whimsy and beautiful things also can remind ourselves that there is still good in this world and that is worth fighting for. Not me quoting Tolkien, but yeah. Adding whimsy to your life does not mean that you're carefree. It means actually, to me, that you care deeply and want the world to be a beautiful, more wholesome, welcoming place. If not for yourself, then also for your community and everyone around you. And this is why I said in the beginning that our society might benefit from more whimsy. I have finished my little whimsical daffodil. I did go a little bit off pattern for some pieces, especially the top, because this is supposed to be detachable and also supposed to open with the button. I did the button and the buttonhole and all stuff, but I realized that the fact that it needs to open, and it was also open here at the top, is because that's made to facilitate a power cord, which is not what I need for my flower. This is just going to sit on top of the lamp. It doesn't have to be open or, you know, openable. It just needs to be a pretty little flower lampshade. And it's done. It's done. Let's find a place for it in the studio and take some whimsy reveal shots of it. I don't know yet if this will be like the final spot for this lamp, because I kind of want it to be a backlighting also when I'm sitting in mostly like the chair in front of that blanket, you know, a background you will know all too well. And I don't know if that works on this height, but for now I think it's looking good over here. Man, this is the kind of thing that gives me so much joy and excitement. I love being able to personalize my space in ways like this. Like, this is a very small whimsical addition. Like, I'm even thinking that it would be cute to like add yarn to the stem and this little hefty block over here. But I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. I also don't know if this is going to be like the final lamp this lampshade rests on, because I still would like the one with swan neck. I think that would be much more flower-like than this. But for now, woo-wee, I am so happy with this. Oh yeah. Little felted lamp. It looks so atmospherical. Like it shades the bright light of the lamp, and I don't know. It's just pretty. It's just really pretty. And now some final thoughts about the kit on making this. My first thought is there isn't much room for error. These are the scraps that I have left over from cutting all the pieces, and I think maybe from the orange flowers I could have cut a 10th one, but all the other pieces you had to be correct in cutting. I thought of this lamp that it would have been cute if I had it in my, you know, my childhood home, in my childhood room, but as a teenager I would not have had the patience and the precision for it to have such small margin of error. I mean, I understand that it does. Like, if I were to sell felt to make lamps, I don't want to be giving too much felt, because that would drive up the price or lower my profit margins. I get it. But there is very little room for error. There is also very little room for making it bigger if you would like that. However, I also want to say that the kit gave really good, precise instructions on how to make this lamp, exactly this lamp. So 10 out of 10, I would buy this again. Or maybe I might just buy new felt and make it more daffodils everywhere. Thank you for watching my little love letter to Whimsy. I hope you're all holding up strong out there. And if you like this kind of fiber shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe, but of course that is all up to you. And as for me, I will see you in a next video. But before that, here are some other craft shenanigans. Bye!